Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
The Briar in Regina, you've already got some competitors filled in. And you probably know they love Matt Dunstone in Regina. They're not even from there, but they love him. So that's a good place to start for the 2024 Montana's Briar.
Yeah, I mean, the three teams that are already in there are, you know, three of our best teams in the country and three of the best teams in the world. So, I mean, yeah, everybody loves Matt. He's, you know, a Manitoba boy that represented Saskatchewan for a while. So I think, you know, once you're a Saskatchewan boy, you know, you are for life. So, I mean, he'll have a ton of support there. I know Team Botcher has old Benny Heaps on the team too, right? So he'll have his whole crew in attendance. You know, they'll be supporting his team. So there's some Saskatchewan flavor there. And then, you know, Mr. Gushu has went from being a Maritimes team to a cross Canada team. I think you saw it at the Grand Slam a couple weeks ago there, just before the holidays in Saskatoon. You know, Brad has an ovation and a following everywhere. So I think the three teams that are there are going to have a lot of support, and I think it's going to be an unbelievable week. You know, Regina always shows up at whenever we have a championship there. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Ripper, can you talk about the job done by Mark O'Leary, if you don't mind?
He's done an excellent job with our team. He's developed guys. You know, we're getting guys drafted, and you know, his teams have been a little bit of a slow starting team. We've always kind of got better after the second half, but no, he's very committed, works hard, and I believe that he will guide this team into a long playoff run.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Boy, that was a very popular interview yesterday with Jason Ripplinger, the general manager of the Moose Jaw Warriors. And I know that today's guests are going to be very popular as well. By name, they are Jason. There we go. From rink-wide Vancouver, Jeff Paterson's going to be with us. And Arash Madani of Sportsnet out of Toronto. Speaking of Toronto, let's go there now. Darren Moose DuPont is with us, and we've got a lot to get to here in the warm-up, as we always do every single day. But not like I'm starting anything new here, Darren, but who's in the director's chair today, Clark? It's Bryce, right? It's Bryce?
Bingo!
Yeah, okay. Bryce, can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Enough Mickey Mouse at the controls, and hit the quick six show horn. Thank you.
That's hot.
I want to prove a little experiment here right now. The number one topic, I'm going to turn that over to you, Darren, and then I'm going to turn that over to the audience, the Rod Squad, whether you're watching on television across the land on Game Plus TV, or you're listening on the radio, WQEE, or the various streams. What is your number one story in your vortex, your purview right now? What is it? I'd love to know. Yours.
The number one sports story that's populating my timelines and the TV I watch is, where's John Harbaugh going to go? It's John Harbaugh. It's still the fallout of Michigan.
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh, yes.
Sorry. Yes, John Harbaugh is his brother that coaches the Baltimore Ravens. Well, it's very interesting that you say that, because you're sitting there in Toronto, and I actually thought that it might be the Leafs and them walloping the San Jose Sharks last night. And I want the people that are, again, tuned in right now, text in 902-518-3033, Sober Carpenter text line. Sober Carpenter is, of course, the official non-alcoholic craft beer of the RP show. Ask for it by name at your favorite beer, wine, and spirit store or on the streams. What's the biggest story in your life? And I'll be honest, for me, it's the National Hockey League, and it was a very busy night on Tuesday night, so that's where we're going to go with the second point, because it's funny you say that. There's no wrong answer. Jim Harbaugh, not on my radar. But you, of course, a Michigan fan, And it's a juicy story. But let's go to the hockey. Nick Perbix scored 2:03 into overtime, and the Tampa Bay Lightning rallied from 2 goals down to beat the slumping LA Kings 3-2 Tuesday night. That gave John Cooper his 500th career win on the bench, the former Notre Dame Hound from Prince George, British Columbia. Scotty, he was the third fastest NHL coach to hit 500 games. Scotty Bowman did it faster. Bruce Boudreau was number 2. But Cooper's the only one to do it with one team to hit 500 wins. So I think, Darren, just stop for a second and let's take our hats off and appreciate the prowess of John Cooper. Why do you think he's never won Coach of the Year, nor I don't think even been a finalist? I don't get it.
I know. You look back and you scratch your head, Rod. I mean, here's one of the best coaches of a generation, and he's never won the award. And all I can say is that each year somebody was better, and there's a better story. And I know he's not going to win it this year. You know, a couple of coaches of Canadian teams are leading the way in Rick Bowness and Rick Tocchet, but, you know, consistently good. You got different coaches coming in and being best in the league for a year, best in the league for a year, but he's consistently been among the top coaches in the National Hockey League. He's respected throughout the league, it seems. He's respected by his players, well-liked, but also can be tough. I think he's a rare breed, and he's done a great job.
I love what they got going on in Tampa Bay, and everybody is waiting for the slide to begin, and it just doesn't seem to happen in Tampa. Eventually it will, because nobody stays on top forever. Even if you're the Patriots under Bill Belichick and win 6 Super Bowls, now his job's right on the line. So it won't last forever. But what they're doing, it was nice to see Steven Stamkos give him the puck in the dressing room last night, his 500th win, which was only like a week after Cooper gave the game puck to Stamkos for becoming the Lightning all-time games played leader. So it's fun to watch, and just, again, hats off to John Cooper, the pride of Prince George, British Columbia. Now, other games last night, Matthew Tkachuk scored his 5th career hat trick to help Florida beat St. Louis for 5-1 was the score. It was the Panthers' 8th straight win. In Toronto, Mitch Marner had 2 goals and 2 assists. The Leafs won their 4th in a row. They beat San Jose and handed the Sharks their 12th consecutive defeat. What was the score? 7-2? It's not in my wire story. It was 7-2, correct? 7-1. Philip Ronick and Quinn Hughes scored first period goals, and Casey DeSmith made 17 saves as Vancouver defeated the Islanders to complete a 3-game sweep of the New York area. In Winnipeg, Cole Perfetti scored twice, and Connor Hellebuck made 29 saves as Winnipeg blanked Columbus 5-0 to match a franchise record with their 7th straight win. In Chicago, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl scored as Edmonton extended their win streak to 8 games with a 2-1 win over Chicago. McDavid scored the winner by beating Peter Mrazek at a breakaway 132 into the second period. And we wind up our tour. We're not going to go through all the games, but in Calgary, Yegor Sharangovich and Blake Coleman each scored twice. And Calgary posted 4 unanswered goals in the third period to defeat Ottawa 6-3. Now, please tell me, before we move on to other things, and I'll see what is top of mind for all of our audience. That was the 6th third period comeback win for the Flames this year. And when I see that, I get angry. And I wonder if Flames fans are excited. Ooh, our team came back. They lead the NHL. I think they're tied with Colorado. 6 comeback wins in the third period. It really would just annoy me, because it just tells me what I've been saying about the Leafs all year. They try when they have to. And you got the Oilers winning 8 in a row, the Panthers winning 8 in a row, a lot of long win streaks, and then you got the Flames just turning it on when they have to. Like, do you see that as something to be celebrated or something to be angry about, like me?
It's something to be celebrated, because you need to be able to come from behind and give your fans hope that you can do that, and your team hope, when you get down late in the year in the playoffs. But it also tells me that you're falling behind in hockey games a hell of a lot of times. And that's not a good thing, because you look at the most come from behind victories. I'd like to hear now how many times they didn't come from behind in the third period where they've been down going into the third, because it's way too many. So good stat, good skill to have, but not one that you should be using that many times.
It's just interesting. I wonder how the fans look at it versus the media versus the teams, because I remember one coach talking about how his team lost 37 one-goal games. And it wasn't Daryl Sutter, although Daryl talked about it a lot last year. 37. Well, I was watching Sports Center with the coach of our team at the time, of the hockey team I was with, and he's like, that means you weren't good enough. And maybe the guy was just sandbagging for his job. I don't know. But to talk about how many one-goal losses you had, I had nothing to brag about either. So it's just interesting how you look at things. I appreciate Brian checking in from Hudson's Bay, Sask, the home of Trent Yanni, Glenn Gulletson, and a host of other hockey greats. He said the NFL playoffs are the only story right now for me. Counting down the sleeps until Saturday. Better than Christmas morning. Can't wait. Okay? Your lips to our ears, Brian. We'll move on to point 3. I had a feeling it was going to work that way. Because NFL playoffs is right up there for me with the NHL, too. I'm excited that the Panthers are back home tomorrow night against the LA Kings. But until then, we'll talk about the NFL playoffs. Yesterday's poll was won. If you remember the question, it was which AFC wildcard playoff game will end in an upset. And the winner of the poll was Miami, Kansas City. The majority of people thought the Dolphins, including you, will upset the Chiefs in Kansas City. Now, wouldn't that be something? I might have a minute to argue that Taylor Swift is a distraction if the Chiefs lose at home to the Dolphins. There's got to be some reason. Let's blame it on Taylor Swift. But the game ain't played yet. So we'll wait till Monday for that. Today's poll question, which is brought to you by Key Auto Group, and of course, as always, Key Auto Group is driven by safety, experience peace of mind. With our comprehensive multi-point inspections, visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. The NFC is the focus of our poll today. Which of these games will end in an upset? Green Bay at Dallas, Los Angeles Rams at Detroit, or Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. Now, the Green Bay, Dallas, Rams, Lions games are Sunday, and then it's Monday night. I like how they did this. Eagles at the Buccaneers. And, Darren, I will go first. Yesterday, I voted none. I don't think there'll be an upset at all on the AFC side. But on the AFC, I think that the Buccaneers will upset Philadelphia. Now, do not take that to the bank. Do not put that on your Bet Regal slip. That's just who I'm pulling for. No betting advice from me. I think we've established that. Eagles on the road, favored by 3 at Tampa. That would make the Bucs the underdog, and I think they'll win. How are you answering that question?
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs, although they beat Carolina to secure the division, there was some moments in that game where it could have went the other way. They don't have a ton of confidence for me coming in, but they do have a lot over the last 6 games. I think it depends on the line. This is really minutia on the betting side. But if you can get that line at 2.5, I would absolutely take the Eagles. If it's over 3, I'm gonna go with the Bucs. So for me, it all depends on that line. But it's going to be a heck of a game.
Could somebody tell me? I don't think people are having a problem finding the show on YouTube, but I am. Clark, are we on YouTube? I'm sure we are. I just wanted to dabble in. Okay, as usual, it's a me problem. I'll find it. But until then, text me, 902-518-3033. There are other things, and we have questions from the audience, but talking about what's on your purview. I ran 5 miles today indoors at Johnny O's. I could have ran it outside, but didn't want to, just to match my guy Chris from the Bronx, who runs 5. Isn't that something? You're who you hang around with. You hang around with a bunch of losers, you're going to be a loser. You hang around with a bunch of winners, you're going to be a winner. Chris from the Bronx is a winner, and he's motivating me. I ran 5 miles today, and while I did, I was listening to ESPN radio, and this was pumped into my head about the Raptors. Yeah, you got to tell me if there's been a lot of coverage in your world over this, because there is in mine. Raptors coach Darko, how do you say it? Rajakovic?
Yeah,
Rajakovic?
Something like that.
He's in his first year. We don't expect much from him. But I want your take on this. He went on a furious, table-pounding tirade against the officiating last night after the Lakers shot 23 free throws in the fourth quarter and went on to beat the Raps by 1 point. Rajakovic, Toronto's first-year Serbian head coach, ripped the game's free throw disparity after Anthony Davis scored 20 of his 41 points in the fourth quarter alone, going 11 for 11 from the line. AD shot 14 of the Lakers' 36 free throws in the game, while the entire Toronto roster shot only 13. Here's the quote from Rajakovic. It's outrageous. What happened tonight, this is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees. Shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them. And we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter? Like how to play the game? I understand respect for all-stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. Unquote.
How about that?
So the conversation this morning on ESPN Radio devolved into basically what's he going to get? Remember last week when we said, what's the Carolina Panthers owner going to get for throwing a drink in a fan? He got a $300,000 fine. They went one step further here by saying this is a coach. He affects the game. The owners do not. And they said that with his quote, he was calling out the officials, which he was, but to the degree of implying that it was a fix. And again, here we go. Do we have to talk about this every week or even daily of whether these games are fixed or not? I don't believe they are. I won't speak for you or any of our viewers. And I don't think the coach was saying this. He was blowing off steam. Was he implying with that quote that they were, what do you call it, score fixing or outcome fixing?
I don't know. He did say in there, too, he said, hey, if they're supposed to win, just tell us before the game and we won't show up. We'll stay home. That was part of the quote.
Right.
And so I thought that was pretty good. I don't know if he was going that far and implying that, but he's just kind of like, this is egregious. It's in LA, against the home team. And when it's 23-2, the fouls in the fourth quarter, and you got Scotty Barnes, one of the better players, young rising star. He's going hard to the net. He got 2 free throw shots the whole game. And LeBron came out and said, hey, they were fouling us. We weren't fouling them. That's how it went. That was LeBron, But it was funny, and it tells you a little bit about how much of a basketball fan I am. I got introduced to the coach for the first time last night with those comments. I didn't know the Raptors coach. Never heard him. Didn't know his name. It's just how closely I follow basketball, which isn't very much. But he was fired up, and it goes down into the all-time, coaching rants. It was a good one. It was well thought out, and you knew he was just ready to get there and blow off some steam.
There we go. Ryan in Toronto. I found it. We're cooking with gas. He says, I enjoyed the passion from the Raptors head coach. We'll see what the league might think, however. They were predicting on ESPN Radio it'll be a 6-figure fine, like $100,000 or more. And the one question, we'll come back and get into more football stuff. We have our NHL coming up in CFL winter meeting stuff. But the one question they said was, have you ever left a sporting event thinking that the outcome was fixed? And I'll say this, as the years go on, it's become a long time since I called games as my job. But the 2017 East Final in Toronto, Saskatchewan at the Argonauts, I called it. And if you recall, I said on the air, I guess the CFL wants the Argos in the Grey Cup. Now, I wasn't implying betting-wise. Betting wasn't even really a thing, especially not in the CFL at that time. I've been accusing the leagues and the refs of being crooked for years. I also was never fined. I'm not sure if I would say those things now. Did I actually think that the league was going to orchestrate who they wanted? I did, based on what I saw called. Kevin Glenn got his head taken off, for the love of God. Our quarterback by a D lineman. No flag. Should have been a first down. Instead, we're punting. We go on to lose the game. So in that case, I would say, yeah. So I'll ask the fans, the viewers, do you ever remember a game that you think it was orchestrated, who the winner would be? I can't say that I didn't feel that way. But again, I was emotional, just like Darko Rajakovic. He was emotional. Do we get a pass for that? Probably not. I'm not thinking so. Oh, God. We're just getting worked up. We'll be right back and continue this wonderful discussion in a moment. On the way, Jeff Paterson from Vancouver, Canucks coverage, and Arash Madani from Toronto, Raptors coverage. Later on in hour 2, we're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, talking sports from paradise. And by the way, everybody, Canada's top men's curlers are thick into the season, and their eyes are firmly focused on a trip to Regina for the 2024 Montana's Brier, presented by AGI. Single draw tickets are on sale now and range in price from $24 to $70, depending on the draw and your seat. All youth tickets are just $9.99. Doesn't matter the draw. All youth tickets, $9.99. Curling Canada is committed to providing affordable options so the entire family can enjoy this world-class event. Get your tickets today. Don't wait. Curling.ca/tickets. Let's bring in the Moose, and I really enjoy the audience participation. It's what sets this show apart. And with regards to, what I said, what is your sports focus? Bill Edwards, the wonderful gentleman who sent me the Ron and Don bobbleheads, he writes and he says, on my radar is it's going to be a great next 10 days for hockey in Western Canada. Eastern teams touring, Battle of Alberta, Saskatoon Blades, as well as in Calgary. And that's the thing. I appreciate Bill shows up and watches this show every day. We love all these things too. Whether it's the curling and the Brier upcoming, the junior hockey, the NLL, NFL, CFL, NHL. We want to talk about it all. Right, Darren? That's what we want to do. And I think we do a good job of it.
Absolutely. It's a great time of year. We often debate the best time of the year, and this isn't going to be it, but it's going to be up there as one of the great times. I mean, anytime, the whole calendar is really good, but it's really exciting, especially where Bill seems to be in that area with the teams that are playing and what's coming ahead. I think it's it's fun, lots of fun.
Are the Leafs going out west? Is that because he is a Leafs fan? I think it was last year that he ended up on the set. Or was it earlier this year? Oh, my God. You forget. Comes with age, Darren. I'm very close to being able to claim seniors moments. I'm telling you, seniors have it, man. They have it. And they've never really hit it, but they can get away with forgetting things. Oh, a seniors moment. They pay cheaper buffets. They got the life, man. They've been holding out and I'm very close to being one of them. Jeff in Yorkton writes in, he says, I agree with Rod about the 2017 game feeling tilted. That's a thing. And John Ohm, I've been waiting to get this out. Will not be a topic today, although maybe it will. We might have hit on something. John Ohm says referees miss calls all the time, and then we think it's fixed. I know. There's just, in the break, I can't remember what was on my mind about how some people can say things. Oh, this is what it was. With Darko Rajakovic just calling out the NBA and the refs last night. And again, do you think he was implying that the outcome was fixed?
No, I don't. But heavily slanted, maybe.
Okay, fair. I don't think he was at all, but this is the thing that I don't understand. There was a fan, let's call him Nevin, years ago when I was the voice of the Rough Riders. The team lost a particularly bad loss, and this guy he wrote me or something, and he goes, I'm burning my season tickets, I'm burning all my rider gear, I'm done with this team, they suck, blah, 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 blah. And I actually took him serious. I'm like, oh, wow, Nevin's really upset. And like a month later, I see him in line at the Rider store, both arms full, weighted down like a mule, jackets, T-shirts, hats. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought you were done with this team. And he goes, well, I was upset. Oh, can we just get over anything, get away with anything we say by saying that we're upset? Darko ain't going to get away with that. Do you think it'll be as much as I'm thinking maybe a suspension. I don't know. Number one, I'm not a basketball guy. Number two, when it comes to hockey and football, spin a wheel, throw a dart. Who friggin' knows where they come up with this stuff? But what do you think, for discipline, what do you think he's going to get?
My first thought was $50K. The more I think about it, maybe $25K. That's probably where it'll end up. I don't think it'll be a six-figure fine. Because he was right. It was 23-2. He was just pointing out the facts. He didn't outright say anybody was cheating or that they accused him of fixing the game, but he was mad. He blew off some steam. He will pay for it.
Okay, we got to move on because clearly this is something we'll never get a resolution to. Not you and I, not anybody in sports. He's huffing into a microphone stating fact and ends up getting at least a five-figure fine. You can't say the truth? I know. I don't get it. Darren in Salt Lake City watching, he says, my biggest senior moment is forgetting I can get a discount. Whoa, wait, I paid full price. Shoot. Yeah, it is a wonderful thing. What else do I have? Moving on. That was first point. What's your biggest story? Because everybody seems to have a different one. That was a fun experiment. Number two, NHL leftovers. We've covered that. Point three, NFL playoffs, which incidentally, I should check. Clark, do you have an update on the YouTube vote? Who the viewers and audience think will be the upset this weekend? The majority saying Eagles, Buccaneers. That's what I got. 50% on Twitter saying Eagles, Buccaneers. 27% say Rams, Lions. 19% say Cowboys, Packers. And only 4% say none. Point four was Darko Rajakovic. So I guess Here, TSN notification. What do we have here? Oh, two Calgary Flames and 2 Montreal Canadiens lead the updated TSN trade bait board with just under 2 months to go. 2 months. We're going to have to hear this. Thank you, Godshot, because I want to save the NHL top 5, bottom 5 till next hour. You, Darren, and Clark, or whoever, you're going to have to update me and the audience as to what the wildest trade rumors are. Because I opened my phone first thing this morning, and I saw from NHL Jets fan board discussion Facebook group that the Jets should be acquiring Steven Stamkos at the trade deadline. I'm like, Stammer? I didn't ever hear that he was going to be available. So if I can click on this, I want to see if he's even. Now, here's the list. Have you heard Stamkos at all is going to be available?
No. The only time I've heard his name being available was back in the offseason when we were talking about his contract and them saying that they weren't going to talk about the contract until the end of the year. So for that reason, I could see it, his name floating around being, okay, he hasn't signed a contract, future's uncertain. We don't know if this team's, if they're still a contender at the top or if they've got to rebuild a little bit or retool. Maybe he goes as a rental, but no. I mean, it's just pure speculation. I haven't heard the name.
That might be a wonderful poll. Do you love trade rumors? Because I can tell you, I do not. You have admitted you do, and Clark loves them. I hate them because they're a gigantic waste of time. And Serena and I are going to be discussing this on our Cats and Bolts podcast. We're taping it this afternoon after this one. Here's your top 10. You're welcome, TSN, for throwing this out on your behalf. Here's the top 10 trade targets leading up to the NHL trade deadline. Hot off the presses, everybody. Number 1, Elias Lindholm, Calgary Flames. Number 2, Chris Tanev, Calgary Flames. Number 3, goalie Jake Allen, Montreal Canadiens. Number 4, Sean Monahan, Montreal Canadiens. Number 5, Sean Walker, Philadelphia Flyers. Number 6, Vladimir Tarasenko, Ottawa. Number 7, Noah Hannafin, Calgary. Number 8, Anthony Duclair, San Jose. Number 9, Andrei Kuzmenko, Vancouver. Number 10, Ilya Lyubushkin, Anaheim. Number 11, Pat Maroon, Minnesota. Number 12, Tyson Berry, Nashville. I'll go on. Jake Gensel, Trevor Zegras, Andrew Peak, Dominic Kubalik, Jacob Markstrom, John Gibson, Adam Henrique, Riley Smith, Tony D'Angelo. Do I need to go on? Nick Seeler, Tyler Johnson, Philip Broberg. He's not even on the flippin' list. Or is there just certain people that you would listen to? And my brother gets into all this stuff too. He's always sending me this stuff he sees for these fan boards. I'm like, would you just... Now I don't tell people to stop because I get so many people sending me stuff. I just smile and nod. I don't read it. So where are you on trade rumors, man? I hate them, man. It's just a waste of time.
I'm not as all over them as I used to be. When I was in this business earlier, and you go back to like the 2000s, in the late 2000s and early 2010s, I mean, I checked the trade bait boards all the time, rumor sites, whatever. It was juicy. What might happen? That was the hot gossip. I don't read Page 6 anymore. The gossip isn't really my thing. I guess maybe I grew out of that or my interests changed. But, the one that jumps out for me is Zegras. I didn't think Zegras would be a trade bait move for Anaheim. I thought he would be, an Anaheim lifer, somebody you want to build your team around. And I thought he'd be in Anaheim forever, but he's moving up the trade bait boards, higher on other people's lists. But Stamkos isn't on there unless something happens and we learn that, the negotiations aren't happening or aren't going to happen or Tampa's going to go in a different direction. That's the only way I could see him being moved.
From the audience, Mark Zosel watching in Melfort. He's a beekeeper. That's his job. Mark writes in, he says, that is one dang nice golf shirt, Rod. #Vegas. I know I got this when I was a Golden Knights fan and was spending a lot of time around that particular hockey club. That was a great day where they brought me into the souvenir store in Summerlin, Nevada and said, pick out whatever you want. So I did. That was a nice feeling I still have that stuff. I actually brought it here to Florida. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, unfortunately, seniors' discounts often equal seniors' portions. Not at the Golden Corral. You don't got to worry about that at the Golden Corral. Oh, David in Winnipeg. Thank you, David Ice, for checking in. This is what started the whole thing. He goes, don't mess with success. Chevy should tinker delicately with the lineup if necessary. And that's the whole other thing. You already have the #1 team in the National Hockey League. Bill Parcells said it first, and John Lynch made it famous. Your record is what you are. The Jets are the best team in the NHL. Why would you fiddle with that? Yeah, you could find a place for Stamkos. Who couldn't? Who couldn't? Who wouldn't want him on their team? But I don't think they should do anything. The Panthers last year didn't do a thing at the trade deadline, went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Are you one of the guys that thinks the Jets should do something?
No, my short answer is no. I'm a believer that if you're a contending team, things that you should add should be depth, maybe. If you need something in your bottom six or a third pair defenseman, or you want to have a better backup goalie in case your goaltender gets hurt, those types of things. Because I find when teams bring in stars, it changes the makeup of your locker room. It changes the makeup of the way you play the game. Oh, Rod's here on the line. He's going to score the goals now. I don't have to handle all this pressure anymore. And I can take a little bit of a load off and just relax a little bit. So I stop playing the same way. It's not like you're just adding and everybody's going to get better.
The Jets have worked so hard to fix their chemistry. Why would you even fiddle with it now? Like, it's the Tampas, the Devils, the Bulls, and in the West, it's the Oilers, even Nashville, Arizona, the ones that are right on the line that should be augmenting to get them in. That's who it should be, not the teams at the top. That's silly. Anyways, Vancouver might be, and we're going there next. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
You bet.
Lots more football talk then, plus the CFL winter meetings discussion, but we're talking Vancouver Canucks when we come back with Jeff Paterson. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics, Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Big night for the Florida teams last night. Lightning beating the LA Kings 3-2 in overtime. Dean in Green Bay watching writes in. He says, congrats to John Cooper on his 500th career win in the National Hockey League. Just the third fastest coach to do that. And the Panthers won in St. Louis 5-1. When we talk hockey, it's brought to you by Common Crown Brewing out of Calgary. A commitment to connection and celebration of uniqueness. Visit commoncrown.ca. How about those Vancouver Canucks? As we bring in Jeff Paterson from Rink-Wide Vancouver and Sekeres and Price. JP, before we go any further, whether you like it or not, I always think of your Kamloops Blazers days. And if I may, as you smile when I bring that up, I was interviewing Peter Worrell last week, and he talked about going into Kamloops and getting their ass kicked by the Blazers, like hard in the first game. What do you remember about Peter Worrell and the Hull Olympique in that tournament, if anything? In 1995 in Kamloops, you, of course, the voice of the Blazers.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, not an awful lot. I mean, it was Kamloops, it was Brandon. Those were the two teams that both came out of the West that year. Detroit was the other team. I guess what I remember most is that Paul Maurice, a very young Paul Maurice, was the head coach of the Detroit Junior Whalers at that Memorial Cup, and obviously has gone on to do great things in the National Hockey League. Don Hay, of course, was the head coach of the Blazers, who won, and he had his chance in the National Hockey League as well. To me, it's more about some of the individual players from that tournament. We're going back to 1995, so memory's starting to get a little foggy here. I heard you talking about senior discounts, Rod. Can't remember all those things from way back then, but the Blazers team was stacked. Brandon had a terrific team. Brian Berard, of course, was all the talk that year in his draft year for the Junior Red Wings, and ultimately it was Kamloops and Detroit in the final, and Detroit never stood a chance on Blazer ice in that championship game.
I love those stories, as do you. And Worrell said, by the way, if I may, Claude Julien was their coach, and he begged Julien to get on the top line. So he put him on the top line. First game of the tournament. Congratulations, you're playing against Don McKelly, Doan, and Iginla. And he's like, no mas. Didn't know what they were up against. Anyways, to the Canucks. Somebody asked me the other day, when's the last time two Canadian teams were 1-2 in the NHL standings at the midway point? I didn't have the answer to that. Have you looked that up as the Canucks guy, Jeff?
I haven't, but I've had that question posed to me as well, and I would say it's been a long, long time. We know the drought, obviously, when it comes to winning the Stanley Cup in this country. Getting ahead of myself here, but this Winnipeg team, an incredible story. And, talking about the trade deadline, too, like, Kyle Connor is going to be a nice trade deadline acquisition for the Jets. I mean, they're doing this without one of their top scorers. He's going to come back, so be curious to see what they do. And, of course, now the Canucks got to the halfway point of their season last night with a win against the Islanders, a terrific win for the Canucks because it was their third game in 4 nights. It was back-to-back. And, Ron, for the first time in franchise history, and they've been around for more than half a century, they won on the road in Jersey against the Rangers and the Islanders in the same season. This Canuck team had never, no incarnation of this Canucks organization had ever done that. So they're on a roll right now. They're 11-2-2 in their last 15 hockey games. And I think the last time I was on with you was sort of around December 1st. And then they were coming out of a 10-game stretch in which they had alternated wins and losses for essentially 3 weeks. And there were people here thinking, all right, how is this going to end? You're not going to alternate for the rest of the season. Are you going to be able to string some wins together, or are you going to suffer a couple of consecutive losses? If you lose a bunch of games at the end of a streak like that, all of a sudden it can be 5 wins in 13 or something like that. And then people are saying, oh, this is all too familiar. We've seen this movie from the Canucks over the years. Well, since then, they have rattled off 11 wins and a couple of OTLs in their 15 games. So they've got the pedal down right now. They're fun to watch. They're scoring a bunch of goals. They're the highest scoring team in the National Hockey League. They have the top defenseman scorer in Quinn Hughes, who scored his 11th goal of the season last night against the Islanders and has just been all world for this hockey club and is on pace for more than 100 points. He's at 51 points rather at the 41 game mark. And he has leveled up this year to a point that, he was good last year with 76 points, but he has taken it up a notch and is a huge part of the engine of this hockey club.
Well, it bears repeating. You talked about the last time you were on. I asked you what Tocchet's done right. It's only gotten even better. And this, correct me if I'm wrong, these are all the same players. The last 2 coaches got fired over. So I gotta ask you again, what's different? Because going into the year, you said they're going to be better, but how much better? Nobody could have thought they were going to be this much better.
No, and let's be clear, they have been completely healthy. Like, their star players have been there every single night, and that's just not the case in a lot of cities, and it's a contact sport, and who knows if it lasts. But while you've got all of your available talent, make sure you make some hay, and they are doing that. What's different? Again, a healthy Thatcher Demko, certainly. Now, Rick Tocchet came in around this time last year, January 22nd, so he's coming up on a 1-year anniversary of his hiring by the Canucks. He had those 36 games down the stretch last year to instill his systems and his structure, and structure was what was lacking under Bruce Boudreau. Bruce loved offense, but they didn't keep the puck out of their net, and Rick Tocchet came in, made some changes. The one thing I would push back a little bit, Rod, when you say the same players, the Canucks have overhauled their defense core to the point that at this stage of the season last year, only 2 of the guys that are in the lineup were playing regularly for the Vancouver Canucks. So they went out in free agency. They got Carson Soucy. They got Ian Cole. They made the trade before Christmas for Nikita Zadorov out of Calgary. They have altered the composition of their defense core. And I think from day one, Rick Tocchet looked at a team like Vegas that ultimately went on to win the Stanley Cup. And you look at the back end of the Golden Knights, they're big, but they're mobile. They move the puck, and that was the wish list. And so, now you've got Zadorov at 6'6". You got Tyler Myers at 6'7". You've got Carson Soucy, who's 6'5". Philip Hronek was, they paid a price to get him last year, used the assets they got in the Bo Horvat deal and picked up Philip Hronek, who has been terrific for the Vancouver Canucks paired with Quinn Hughes. So they have fundamentally altered their defense core in a year, which isn't easy to do when we always talk about there aren't that many trades made within the course of a National Hockey League season. And Patrick Allvin in the front office here, they've been aggressive. They have targeted their players, and they've gone out and they've made their moves. And for the most part, just about everything they have touched has turned to gold. And it's one of the reasons they have 27 wins at the 41 game mark.
I appreciate the analysis a lot. And you're right, because I've seen them play live. Gons Luke Shen, Gons Ethan Bear, Gons Oliver Ekman-Larsson. But you guys said all along, and the fans too, because I follow them, that the blue line was the problem. They know their hockey in Vancouver. Could the Canucks GM management not see this? What took them so long? They still have Tyler Myers in a key role, but you know what I'm saying? You guys all knew that was the problem.
Yeah, and people banged that drum for a long time, and for whatever reason, Jim Benning just wouldn't listen or couldn't make the necessary moves. Jim Rutherford and his group have come in here, and again, they've been swift and they've been decisive. And this is an angry fan base. It's been a dark, dark decade here since they got to the Stanley Cup Final in 2011, and there was so much bad money thrown at bad hockey players with long terms, and they just couldn't get out from under a lot of those deals, and it led to ultimately the buyout of a player like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. But it is funny. Like at this time last year, Rod, Brock Besser, his agent was given permission to shop him around the National Hockey League because he had like 6 goals at Christmas time last year. And here he is among the National Hockey League goal scoring leaders with 25 a year later. And so, sometimes it's just the trades that you don't make sometimes end up being pretty good trades for you in that regard. So everything has come together. It has been a perfect storm. We knew all along at the outset of the season that they had high-end talent in Elias Pedersen and JT Miller and Quinn Hughes. If Thatcher Demko could stay healthy, the bones of a pretty good hockey club were there. But the issue for too long in Vancouver has been surrounding the top-end guys with complementary pieces. And, ask Edmonton how that's worked too. You can have all the star power you want up top. It's a team game ultimately. And the Vancouver Canucks have done a pretty nice job of going and grabbing some pieces along the way, whether it was a Pius Suter in free agency or Teddy Bluger or a trade with the Leafs to get Sam Lafferty, who's come in and played a nice role for them. So the star players have been star players. They've got 3 guys in the top 10 in NHL scoring. They could have 5 players at the All-Star game in Toronto with the fan voting, see how that goes. But that's sort of reflective of the type of team that the Vancouver Canucks are. So if they get 5, somebody pointed that out the other day. It would be the first time in almost 20 years that one organization's had 5 players at an NHL All-Star event. And of course, they've changed the format over the years. But that would say something about this Vancouver team and where it's at if they can get 5 guys involved in All-Star weekend.
Awesome chat, Jeff. Thanks. I'm glad the hockey's going so well. Enjoy it. We'll chat come playoff time.
Sounds good, Rod. Thanks for having me on.
Jeff Paterson from Rinkwide Vancouver and Sakaris and Price. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover in a moment. We're live on Game Plus TV, available all across BC on TELUS Optic Cable and Shaw Rogers. WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I don't know where to go. Sports update or audience takeover because we got so much good stuff coming in. Lee Harding has written us regarding the NBA screw job on the Raptors last night at the Lakers. Lee Harding says, thanks for talking about biased reffing for league goals. He says the NBA ref convicted after intentionally reffing against Steve Nash and the Suns in favor of the Lakers said the NBA has given directives before. I'm not saying one where I don't believe that the outcomes are fixed, period. And that's the truth. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. I don't believe the outcomes are fixed. You can say whatever you want. I don't. And we'll see how much Darko Rajakovic gets nailed for what he said last night after the Raptors lost by 1 point at the Lakers. You wonder why coaches get fired up. Their whole life depends on this. Then you get screwed by the refs, and 2 minutes after the game, you're supposed to talk about it. There's not a lot of room there for cooling down. Hey, here's the news. The National Hockey League Players Association has announced a new program, First Line, meant to support the mental health of players. The announcement was made at the Hockey Hall of Fame in partnership with the Mental Health Commission of Canada. Opening Minds. NHLPA Executive Director Marty Walsh, former NHL defenseman Jay Harrison, and Mental Health Commission of Canada's Vice President Shane Silver were on hand. Silver says First Line is based on the Working Mind, evidence-based learning program with the aim of increasing resiliency skills, mental well-being, and decreasing stigma around mental health. Good luck with that. Gobbledygook there. This is the world that I live in all the time as a certified mental health and sober coach. But evidence-based learning program, what the hell does that mean? Increasing resiliency skills. Hey, it all sounds great. But I was speaking at a gym in Gladmar, Saskatchewan, so close to the U.S. border you could spit over a barbed wire fence into the United States. I said, hey, kids, we're going to talk about resiliency today. That's what the teachers want. Do you know what resiliency means? Nobody even knew. This is dumb it down and say an elastic band is resilient. This rubber band is resilient. Snap back from adversity. Sports Updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, don't let adversity finish your story. Be resilient and snap back. Anyways, at Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. When an ancient power is unleashed, Aquaman must forge an uneasy alliance with an unlikely ally to protect Atlantis and the world from irreversible devastation. Starring Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, Dolph Lundgren, and Nicole Kidman. Aquaman in theaters now, Landmark Cinemas. Stick around. We'll be right back after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ripper, can you talk about the job done by Mark O'Leary, if you don't mind?
He's done an excellent job with our team. He's developed guys. We're getting guys drafted, and his teams have been a little bit of a slow starting team. We've always kind of got better after the second half, but he's very committed, works hard, and I believe that he will guide this team into a long playoff run.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I can't decide if hour 1 is my favorite hour or hour 2 is my favorite hour. They're both great. It's like picking between between pizza and ice cream. They're both great. Chicken or beef? They're both great. We're here in South Florida. Moose is in Toronto. Let's bring him in. Are the kids back in school today? Darren, are they back? I know they took them out of school yesterday because the snow started flying. Are they back in school today?
Yeah, I think they're back in school. I think everything's settled down. To be honest, most of that snow's gone too. So,
okay, gotcha. Okay, well, the differential between hour 1 and hour 2 is, as you know, hour 1. I think everybody knows by now on episode number 1155 what we do here every day. We recap in hour 1 what happened last night. And then here in hour 2, we really get into the audience participation. We bring in everybody's thoughts from hour 1 and look ahead until hour 2 tonight. Tonight's games. And I want to go back here, way back. Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba watches us every day on Game Plus TV. and he's written us on the text line, 902-518-3033, Sober Carpenter text line, the official non-alcoholic craft beer of the RP Show. He says, good day, RP crew and squad. After yesterday's Bet Regal breakaway picks, who's buying lunch? Have a great show as usual, Rod, Moose, and crew. They're really getting on to this Bet Regal breakaway bet, something that we came up with. The viewers named, shout out Nelson, he came up with that name. Did you go back and look at who had more right last night? We were about the same. We were about the same. I could go back and look.
I didn't go back and look. I mean, I can go back too, and I want to, because I do think we were, again, had more right than we did wrong, which is always a good thing.
Exactly. I would think you would pass a test with that. I had Tampa to win. You had the Kings to win. Lightning won. LA's winless in 6. But you had the Ducks going into Nashville to win, and I had the Predators to win that game. It didn't happen. But it's fun. And I guess, can you make picks without having anything on the line? It doesn't make a lot of sense that you would do it for nothing. So, I don't know, maybe at the end of I do have it all recorded. As you've seen my binders. They're this thick. I got every show, everything we've ever talked about, everything in there. 1,155 shows I've got it all tracked. People wouldn't believe that, but that's just me. Some might call it OCD. But I think about this, Darren. Making picks for nothing. Why would you do that? It reminds me of my guy, Chris, from the Bronx. We went fishing. He goes, we're going to go sport fishing. And I was like, what the hell is sport fishing? Sounds very involved to me. Do you know what sport fishing is? Do you know, by the way? Because I didn't.
I assume this is what I used to watch on the lunch hour on TSN back in the day, where they, try and catch as many fish as they can in an hour and throw them all back. You're not keeping any of them. Is that the definition of sport fishing?
Well, number one, I was watching the Flintstones at lunch hour. Number two, that's exactly what it is. And him and I caught 10 fish in an hour. Just boom, throwing the rod, boom, pulling them out. I was like, wow, why would we not keep these? Well, it's a sport. It's sport fishing. And you've met Chris. And I'm like, okay, I don't really understand it. And maybe it's because there's so many, I don't know why. Why would you catch the fish and then throw them back? I don't understand that. Where I come from, the farm, Milestone, Saskatchewan, we shoot to kill. We're not out shooting gophers and varmints with tranquilizer darts. Why the hell would you do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're a rural kid too, but you're a town kid. You didn't grow up on the farm. We shoot to kill.
Well, and I don't know if there's sport ice fishing either. But I mean, you sit there, you're not even holding onto the rod all afternoon, drinking beers, leaving the rod there until it jiggles. What, are you going to reel that thing in just to throw it back? What was the point of sitting out there in the freezing cold weather? I don't get it. But I'm not a fisherman. I don't like to fish. All right.
Hey, if you came down here, you might like it. You might like it.
Yes.
I didn't like it either until I started doing it right. Thanks to Chris from the Bronx. Anyways, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, fishing for sport. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. Reg in Winnipeg writes in and says, Baba Zumi. Remember, kids, the thrill is in the catching, not the keeping. That's Baba Zumi's Real Fishing Radio. Anyways, back on sport, because I guess, hey, we're talking about sport fishing. That's sports. This morning on ESPN Radio, I had to change the channel. I was running 5 miles, and I was listening to ESPN Radio. I had to change the channel because they weren't talking about sports. They always get off on talking about food. And I'm like, I didn't tune in to listen to Better Homes and Gardens and Martha Stewart. I tuned in to talk about sports and hear sports. If you're not going to talk about it, that's cool, but I'm moving on. And that's what we're going to do here. Thank you for the reminder, everybody. To the text line regarding the Winnipeg Jets, the number 1 team in the NHL. It was about 30 minutes ago we talked about this. What are they going to do at the trade deadline? What should they do at the trade deadline? David Magyar in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, good morning, Rod and Moose. I have been a Winnipeg Jets fan since the WHA days. This iteration has continually excited me and disappointed me. I hope this year's version finally delivers the goods. Who's your Cup favorite as of now? Look, people aren't going to want to hear this. I'm with Biz that Canada has 4 legit Cup contenders: Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and Toronto. There's no doubt. But if I can say this, it's, by the way, I switched it over to NHL radio today, and I thought of this. I think I'm going to go with Edmonton, Toronto. Sorry for the haters of those teams. And here's why. A year ahead of last year's Stanley Cup final, I picked Florida Vegas, and then they ended up in the Stanley Cup final. Craig Button did a similar thing the year before St. Louis and Boston went to the Stanley Cup final. I think what our buddy Scott Laughlin said on NHL radio was, Gordy Stellick always shows up to the party early. Gord has these early predictions that end up everybody thinks he's nuts, which is what I did, and then he goes, and we leave the party early. The whole idea is to show up on time, but I've never been that guy. I'm going to say Edmonton, Toronto, because you remember when I said that, Serena got very upset because she's like, your predictions are always wrong, at least for that year, and she's the Oilers fan. You?
I like Winnipeg a lot. I think Winnipeg is it. You talk about Cup favorites and getting to the final. I think what they have over Edmonton and, well, not over Vancouver necessarily, but they've got the goaltending, and that it just seems like they're a team that can grind out wins. Edmonton, we haven't seen that enough yet. They did grind one out against Chicago 2-1 when they only had 15 shots, but that was Chicago. You know, Edmonton can outmatch you, outpace you, and just overwhelm you, but Winnipeg can be overwhelmed and still win because of their goaltending and some of the grit that they have. So I really like Winnipeg. I think they'll get to the Cup.
John Ohm, one of our favorites, members of the Rod Squad, says, bite your lip, Rod. You're going to a Jets final playoff game with me, bro. Nothing would make me happier. Believe me. But I've said Edmonton, Toronto going into the year, and I have no reason to not think that it won't be the Oilers and the Leafs. So, as a matter of fact, I said Edmonton, Toronto last year. So I'm usually, that's how far ahead I am of society. That's how far ahead of the curve that I am. So I could see it happening. Sorry, John. Maybe, I hope I'm wrong. Bill in Brantford, Ontario, the home of Wayne Gretzky, writes in. Bill says, I don't believe they fix games. If they did, the Leafs wouldn't have gone this long between Cup wins. Signed, Bill from Brantford. Well, number one, they haven't won. There's no end on the bookend, Bill. There's nothing saying they're going to win Stanley Cup ever again. But I see what he's saying. From 1967 till now and beyond, if they were going to fix games. And by the way, hey, I want to make this very clear. I'm not saying they fix games. I say it every single time it comes up. I don't believe they do because I consciously don't believe that they do. But the Lakers and Raptors last night, LA won by a point, and the Raptors coach, Darko Rajakovic, called out the officials, and it's been taken that he was intimating that the outcome was fixed. Darren paraphrased the quote, and the way you said it, and which was perfectly accurate, did make it sound like he was accusing the league of fixing the outcome of the game. He was just speaking in haste. But that will not get him off the hook, will it? And it's 1:11 Eastern, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. It's 1:11 Eastern. Can we do that? We don't have Director Jordan here today.
Beautiful.
I think, just so you know, I'm not always right. Breaking news. And I'll tell you what. And yeah, well, I know. It's shocking. Shocking revelation here. But you and I have this debate regularly because I hate with a passion the phrase perception's reality. You know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know because we've probably had this conversation at least 10 times. Reality's reality. So what bothers me, and I'll never get it, and that's why I'll never be the commissioner of a sports league, but I don't want to be, because I'm as real as a heart attack, right? And but not everybody's like that. I get it. But we have to protect the integrity of the game. But you don't have integrity. That's the part. We can't have it look like we're not perfect. But you're not perfect. So, you know what I'm saying? I guess my point, like Tim Peel, I don't like the fact that he got let go. Here's my point. Just because Tim Peel said on an open mic, we had to call that penalty because we had to make up for a penalty that we missed in the first, or whatever it was that got him fired. That's the thing that ticks me off, because it's just not real. Just because, and that's hockey. I'm not going to get into the football, NBA. Football is a whole other stratosphere of a discussion. Why can't you just officiate games the way it's always been? Just because we know there's makeup calls doesn't mean that they're fixing the games. Is my point.
No, it doesn't.
Sorry it took me so long to get it out of my mouth. Do you see what I'm saying?
But there's makeup calls, and we're okay having makeup calls, but you just can't say that they're makeup calls, because then you'll get fired. You know?
It's so dumb.
But it's the world that we live in. It's this world that we live in where you have, I don't know how many tens or hundreds of millions of auditors that we call social media users. They audit everything, and they want to point out every mistake and make you look bad for it, when sometimes that's the way that things are done, you know? And if everything was black and white, that might cause more problems, right? It is tough, but it's a debate that we don't need to get into today about managing the game and the way that referees call games and coaches coach games and players play games. But you don't really understand that unless you actually played the game.
Well, I'll just say this, and this is sports. We've gotten a little off the track, but this is sports. As far as perception goes, listen, you are one of probably a lot of people that think I'm nuts. But I used to think like you guys. But I used to do a lot of banquets, sports banquets with Tiger Williams. And Tiger's a loon. That's what he wants you to think. Tiger, keep thinking I'm stupid. Keep thinking I'm crazy. That's what I want. Because there's so many guys out there want to tell you how smart they are and how much money they have and how much sex they're having and all this. And they're not any of those things. But let them say it. You just keep thinking I'm dumb and we're good. I've said this before. I would rather be very strong person and be thought of as weak than be a weak person and be thought of as strong. Because I've been that, and that's terrible. I'd rather be like this. Anyways, Robert Campbell, watching in Las Vegas, says the Winnipeg Jets have earned 24 of a possible 28 points since Kyle Connor was injured. Impressive. I'm saying Jets fans have a reason to puff their chests out. And a Panthers fan wrote me today because I was saying we're taping our Panthers Lightning podcast this afternoon. And he was like, Rod, how about that game last night where the Panthers smoked the Blues in St. Louis 5-1? Matthew Tkachuk had a hat trick in the third. And I said, I just hope that they're not peaking too early. Because that's a thing, too. Ask the 2023 Toronto Argonauts. From the audience, Brian in Hudson's Bay. Brian says, see the look I gave him? Says, what's the line on the Lions-Rams game? Because I have the Rams. Not sure if that's an upset or not. He goes, I'm watching on YouTube, coming in loud and clear. The line, I happen to have it here. Not on my notepad, but I have it in my warm-up notes. Bear with me, and we'll talk about those NFL games when we come back, plus the NHL top 5, bottom 5. Here it is. Detroit favored by 3. So if the Rams won, that would be an upset. Okay, when we come back, I promise. CFL winter meetings discussion, our NHL top 5, bottom 5, and we'll update the poll. Which NFC wildcard playoff game will end in an upset this weekend? You're watching, and Arash Madani coming up. We can talk about the Raptors thing with him from Sportsnet. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We are back at it live here on the Game Plus Television Network and Key Radio down there in Atlanta. Shout out Rhino Radio. Did I mention this earlier? I'm not sure that I did. The Telemiracle online 50/50 raffle is live right now. You can get your tickets at telemiracle5050.com. You just got to be over 18 years of age and physically in Saskatchewan to purchase your tickets. Selling them until February 23rd. All proceeds go to Telemiracle 48. That is Saskatchewan's charity. Visit telemiracle.com to learn how the Kinsman Foundation is helping people every day in Saskatchewan to improve their independence and quality of life. You're going to be hearing about it until we reach our fundraising goal, so do it today, please. Telemiracle5050.com. Let's bring the Moose back in. I'll just remind everybody, 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here in the studio, talking sports, having fun doing it. David in Winnipeg writes in, just to clarify, he says, fishing is not a sport. It's a pastime. I never understood watching someone on TV fishing and then getting them paid to do it. This is the definition of stupid. I feel like we triggered somebody. I like those fishing shows, too. I think we all watched them. I like them.
Ask him how he feels about poker.
Oh, I know. I know. And that's what people have said for years about curling. Yeah, you go out there and try it. So, yeah, people that say that rodeo's not a sport. Why don't you go try that? So, yeah. I don't even know why I read that. Okay. Let's do this. It's fun. The NHL top 5, bottom 5 for our official betting partner, Bet Regal. We do it every week. My top 5 and bottom 5 teams in the National Hockey League. We'll start with the top ones. The number 1 team, it's not a surprise to anybody. It's the Winnipeg Jets. 58 points, leads the NHL, and they've won 7 in a row. No signs of slowing down. The number 2 team, the Vancouver Canucks. NHL best, plus 53 goal differential, highest scoring team in the NHL. Top 2 teams in the NHL are Canadian. Nobody remembers the last time that happened. Number 3, it's the Florida Panthers, and I'm not even joking. They've won 8 in a row. The defending Eastern Conference champs, number 3. Number 4, it's the Boston Bruins. Until they're not the Boston Bruins. Yes, they've lost 3 of 4. They've been struggling out west, but they're still 3rd overall in the NHL standings. Winnipeg, Vancouver, Florida, Boston. And number 5, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not joking. They've played the least amount of games at 38. You probably know that. They've won 4 in a row. They're my number 5 team. Honorable mentions, the New York Rangers. Honorable mentions, the New York Rangers. They lead the Met, but they haven't won big games. Lost to Vancouver last night. Lost here in Florida 10 days ago. Your bottom 5 are these. Number 28, Buffalo Sabres. Very, very disappointing season in Buffalo. 29th team is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've won just 3 of their last 10 games. The 30th team, the Chicago Blackhawks. Punch me in the nose, Moose. I need to see some stars because they have no stars without Connor Bedard. And I've seen this movie before. 31st team is the Ottawa Senators. They've lost 4 in a row. And Jacques Martin can't figure out how they don't know how to play defense. You're adults. How do you not know? And the last place team is the San Jose Sharks. They've lost 12 in a row. They're tanking, and they're not even hiding it. I was going to say they should get an award for that, but it's the number 1 overall pick should they win it in the lottery. Agree or disagree with my top 5, bottom 5? Moose?
I mostly agree. I think there's got to be a spot in there for the Oilers. I know they're far down in terms of overall points at 16, but they've won 8 in a row. I think, they would be favored to beat just about every team in the National Hockey League today. So I would think that as of today, they're probably one of the top 5. And knocking on the door is Seattle, winning 7 in a row, like moving on up. Playing some of the best hockey. I don't think they're a top 5 team in the NHL, but I think they're very good. And I will say I've been riding them a lot, but I can't anymore. The LA Kings are going the other way. They lost 6 in a row. They're not near the top 5 anymore.
Hey, by the way, a couple comments from the audience. Randy in Winnipeg says, I just checked for fun on the app I use. Winnipeg 10th for cup odds, Vancouver 14th. Hey, those guys know way more than we do. And when I see these odds, I kind of get a little nervous. Like when I saw Michigan was favored to win the Rose Bowl over Alabama, I'm like, these guys are rarely wrong. Sometimes they're wrong, but most times they're right. I hope those guys are right for Canadian hockey fans' sake. Robert in Las Vegas writes in, he says, tell Dustin Buffalin that fishing isn't a sport. I think a Buff, there are a lot of guys like him, like a Ricky Williams, and those coaches I talked about that have moved down here to Florida. I don't know where Buff is. Took their money. See ya. Not everybody is wired the same. Have we figured that out yet? Like Bill Belichick, 71, wants to keep coaching. Why? That's him. There's nothing else he wanted. He couldn't spend the amount of money that he has. And that makes him happy. That's the main thing. You do you, Bill. But I'm not sure I would hire him to coach my team. That's for sure. Now, we promised all show that we would talk about the Canadian Football League winter meeting stuff. It's in my commentary today. You can go read it right now at rodpeterson.com or listen to it on Sask Radio. My thoughts on everything, because I do random thoughts on the commentary today. But I'm just enjoying the coverage. You can go across the country. We did it with the NHL the other day, a welfare check-in on the NHL teams in Canada. How about the CFL teams? Pretty quiet out of BC. We're going to end this up in Saskatchewan, but in Winnipeg, they don't have extensions signed. There was like 30-plus pending free agents for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I think they've signed 7, but they haven't signed Brady Oliveira, the top Canadian, nor Dalton Schoen, one of their best receivers. One thing Serena said it the other day, because although she's not a CFL or football diehard, she follows all this stuff. She's like, look at Winnipeg. Nobody wants to leave Winnipeg. They're signing all their guys. Like they got Willie Jefferson signed. I think Jeff Coat was one of those guys. The only reason Oliveira and Schoen haven't signed is because they want to go to the NFL. But if they're not in the NFL, they want to be in Winnipeg. They got something going. Ottawa's got a decision to make, I guess. They got a big bonus owed to Jeremiah Masoli, and they don't even know if he's going to be their quarterback next year. But I got to think that he will be. What else did I read? How about Jones? Chris Jones. Straight entertainment coming out of Edmonton. Darren, he was asked by the media yesterday at the winter meetings in Nashville, did you consult with Trey Ford, your incumbent starting quarterback, before you signed McLeod Bethel Thompson to a one-year deal? Jones, no. Now, listen, I don't coddle these guys. Signed a defensive tackle. I didn't talk to my starting defensive tackle about that. How did a Shivers imitation get into there? Anyways, no, he didn't. Does your boss confer with you? Not you, Darren, but Sally Sixpack sitting on the couch? Or Carl Cubicle watching it? No. Why do they think they should be consulted? I'm with Jones. I'm always with Jones, but how about you on this one?
I know. No, it is unique because Trey Ford, ended up being a starter at the end of the year, and Taylor Cornelius now is officially released. But no, there's not a responsibility there. Jones needs to only do as much as he thinks he needs to do to keep his locker room in a good spot. So if he thinks these are grown men, they can handle it, and he doesn't need to run this by them, then that's his prerogative, And they're right. He's like, he's not coddling them. It's fine. If he thought that there would be a problem and that it might, ruin his locker room, I'm sure he would have had the conversation ahead of time, but I'm sure he's confident that it's not going to be a problem.
A lot of people were waiting for this segment. Ryan in Saratoga, New York writes in and says, Carl Cubicle. LOL. I know, I just came up with it on my own. Okay, Darren, I need everybody's help with this. From viewer Nelson Edwards, not our normal Nelson, it's a new one. He says, I read that there was a CFL Board of Governors meeting this past December where the fate of a 10th team would be decided. Thoughts on whether we're finally getting a 10th team? Can you handle that for me? Because I might lose my mind.
Let's just move on. Pass. Next. What do we say? Next question.
You ever
the
watch
only thing
Golden Girls?
Yeah, a little bit. No, go ahead.
It's the Dorothy look. The Dorothy look where she looks right in the camera.
Yeah.
Just that
Serious
mean
right
look.
now?
What were you going to say?
I know. No. To give him a real answer, if he hasn't been around that often as a viewer, no. The only thing I heard coming out of that was that Randy and Rosie said that they were going to take one final last-ditch effort in finding a 10th team. But until we hear anything from the commissioner's office, we're not talking about it.
I believe the quote was, they're going to give Halifax one last swing.
Yeah.
But that's not the notion of a 10th team. They're going to move on and look somewhere else.
Yeah.
So anyways, Nelson, the thing is I don't talk about it anymore because it is a waste of time. I think it's an age thing the older I get. It's not like I feel like I'm going to die anytime soon. I probably got another at least 30 years left. But I don't want to waste time talking about the 10th team in the CFL because there's a lot more productive things to talk about. Like the length of my toenails. Because that changes. Wayne in BC says, I'm laughing my butt off at Rod today. I love this show so much.
How about that?
It's different. I'll give you that. Nelson, same guy, writes in and says, I'm relatively new here, so I appreciate the answer. Thanks, guys. See, that's the hook, and I don't know if we'll live long enough. I might take all of these 30 years for people to realize this is like the only show that I've seen that you can pick up your phone and text in 902-518-3033 to the two jabronis on the screen, and they'll literally answer your question. Or at least try. How do I feel about a 10th team? No, we don't. We have a moratorium on it. So, yeah, he's new. And we got to spend a minute here. Arash is coming in next. I don't know if he's logged in or not. He's got thoughts on this. But we'll be talking to him about the Raptors. Let me say this. We learned that Trevor Harris, the veteran quarterback of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, has agreed to restructure his deal. That's the term for taking a pay cut. I've seen now the new phrase for homeless people. It's unhoused. Oh, I'm sure that'll make him feel a lot warmer when it's minus. They're not homeless. They're just unhoused. Oh, thanks. It's not a pay cut. It's a restructured deal. Why is it that the Saskatchewan Roughriders have to restructure it? You don't see Winnipeg doing that with Zach Calero. $600,000, no problems. You don't even hear this having to be done. It's mistakes. Here's one. Don't make a meme out of this, Darren. Are the Saskatchewan contracts written in pencil and sponsored by, what is it? Is it HP or H2? What are the pencils?
Yeah.
Why do they have to
HB,
keep redoing it? They had to redo Fajardo's. They got to redo Harris's. You throw all this money at guys to sign him and then turn around and change the deal. That's not good business in my mind. You got 60 seconds. Thoughts on the Trevor Harris deal?
No, I mean, just doing whatever he needs to do to stay there. The one thing I will say is if Harris is restructuring, it's showing a commitment from him to be there. He never got to live out the full season last year. It started really well. So I think he wants to see it through. I think the fans want to see what Trevor Harris in a full season can do in Saskatchewan. So I like that, and good for Corey Mace to have his quarterback locked down.
All right, Moose, great job today. Go enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know if Arash saw this. It fell off my set, so I'll just leave that up there as we go to break.
Road. Party foul. Arash Madani joins us next on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, Canada's top men's curling teams are thick into the season, and their eyes are firmly focused on a trip to Regina for the 2024 Montana's Brier, presented by AGI. Single shot tickets are on sale now and range in price from $24 to $70, depending on the draw and your seat. And all youth tickets are $9.99 for all draws. Get your tickets now. Don't wait. Curling.ca/tickets. I got to open this up now with Arash Madani. Let's bring him in. Toronto coach Darko Rajovic went on a furious, table-pounding tirade against the officiating after the Lakers shot 23 free throws in the fourth quarter of a one-point win over the Raptors Tuesday night at Crypto.com Arena. Rajovic, I'm not getting – we've all heard the story. Arash, what do you think he's going to get out of this in terms of discipline from the NBA for his rant where – well, he ripped the refs, and the pundits are saying maybe he's accused the league of fixing games.
Yeah, I don't think he's accusing the league of fixing games. I think he's going to get a nice little fine. Hi, Rod, by the way. Nice to see you.
Hi,
25, yeah, 25 to 35 grand. That's probably what it's going to be. Remember last year, Fred VanVleet went on a rant about Ben Taylor, who, oh, by the way, happened to be the official in question yesterday in LA as well. But you hear what Darko's saying. The league's favoring the Lakers. Of course they are. But he's standing up for his guys, and especially his guy, Scotty Barnes, who Darko's point is, this dude's on the cusp of being a star. Start treating him like one. And sometimes in the politics of pro sports, you have to do that for your guy in order for him to get the validation, the attention as being the guy.
Gotcha. And hey, I'm with you. Sometimes it's worth it. I know a lot of fans have asked, do the teams pay those fines? Not that I've ever seen. It's always on the player or coach or G. I've never seen the team pay for it. Have you?
I remember, yes, I have. And I'll tell you this story. We were somewhere, this is a long time ago, man, with the Jays when John Farrell was the manager. And Farrell came to the defense of John Roush, and John Roush got thrown out of the game. And the argument with the umpire, someone's jersey got ripped, and then sheepishly we were in the Bronx, and Roush went into Farrell's office and said, "Hey, thanks for having my back. You know, here's the $500 for the fine," or whatever it was. I think you get automatically, it was like 500 or 1,500 if you get ejected. And Farrell said, "Hey, don't worry, the team's going to pay for it." And Roush said, "Well, take the money anyway, go for dinner or something." So That's the one. That's the one story I have. I never thought I'd bring up John Roush's name again, but here we are, Roddy.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you never know what's going to come up on this show, including that jacket, by the way. Did you race into the closet and dig it out because of the viewer's comment about a 10th CFL team, or were you wearing that anyways today?
No, I've been rocking this most of the day. I mean, I'm a Nova Scotian, so East Coast lifestyle, baby.
Okay, I couldn't quite make out what was on your chest there. So the number one thing I wanted to ask you was about Darko, period. So from there, the floor is yours. What's in yours? We opened the show asking the audience this. I'll ask you, what's in your sports purview right now, your vortex? Got your attention?
Well, my next big assignment is going to be Super Bowl, so I'm kind of locked into the NFL playoffs right now. Roddy, I got to disagree with you on your Trevor Harris take completely.
Okay.
I think it's actually good business by the Rough Riders to do what they're doing, and the only reason why this happened is because the Riders have leverage and Trevor Harris doesn't. The reason why it hasn't happened in Winnipeg is because Zach has all the leverage. The reason why it hasn't happened in Toronto is because Chad Kelly has all the leverage. Why it hasn't happened in Montreal? It's because Cody has all the leverage. And guess what happened in Hamilton? Bo had none, and his pay got cut by 50%. That's just the reality of business with non-guaranteed contracts in a cap world. If Harris had come out last season, been healthy for 18 games, set the world on fire, won the Riders a game or two, he's not playing for 1 cent less. That's just the nature of the beast and the nature of the business.
Hey, life's about perspective. To me, a deal's a deal. So that's where maybe bad business was not a good
not
phrase.
In pro football, my man. Not in pro football. Not even close.
I gotcha. Okay. So moving on to the NFL wildcard weekend. And by the way, I'll see you at Super Bowl. I'm doubting we're staying in the same hotel because mine's $22 a night. I'm sure yours isn't, but we'll bump into each other at some point. Where's the upsets this weekend in your mind?
I just have a hard time believing how Philadelphia is going to get out of the mess they've gotten themselves in. I think the Eagles are in big trouble, have been in big trouble for a month now, ever since San Francisco ran them out of the gym. They look old, they look broken, they look in trouble. And on top of it all, when you lose your number one receiver last week, that just feels like a mess. I'm really intrigued, Rod, about this Miami-Kansas City game. And I know you're down there in South Florida. We've been around football a long time, and what do they always talk about? They talk about how you can't make catastrophic mistakes, how you can't turn the ball over, how you have to own the turnover ratio in order to succeed, and how home field's so important. Well, Roddy, Sunday night, were you at the Dolphins-Bills game? I know you go to a bunch of...
No. I was not. Too late for this old fart, but continue. I watched it.
So what Josh Allen do? Josh Allen made catastrophic errors. He turned the football over at will. He had no grasp of game and situational management at the end of the first half, where he just gave away at least 3 points. And yet, it was no harm, no foul. The Bills come out with the win. A game where Miami could have left with the division title and the 2 seed. And I just don't think Kansas City's very good, but I think the elements are against Miami. I think the momentum's against Miami. I don't think the Dolphins are a very good football team right now. And I know it's not an upset per se based on seeding, but if one thing had gone the other way, Miami's the 2 seed in the AFC, and I don't buy into who and what they are, and I haven't for a while.
Well, who and what are the Chiefs? It's a wonderful discussion. We could sit here and talk about this for 2 hours, i.e., they sat some guys on the final weekend. And are you saying this is a Huff thing? Boys, we got them right where we want them. Everything's stacked against the Dolphins, so they're going to go in there and win. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I think the Dolphins are an overrated team. I think the Eagles are an absolute mess. I'm saying if TJ Watt were healthy, fans and butts for candies and nuts, what a Merry Christmas it would be. If TJ Watt were healthy, maybe they'd be a problem going into Buffalo, but I don't sense it. I know this sounds weird, but I actually think the game of the week is Houston and Cleveland. You have the most electric, dynamic, young quarterback the game has had in a long while going up against a Cleveland defense that is so legit, except on the road. Their discrepancies in where they are home and road is so different, but it's in an indoor controlled environment, which to me is advantage Cleveland defense. And Joe Flacco off the couch coming in doing what he's doing. I just think that is as intriguing as it gets.
Unreal stories. And Mike McCarthy facing the Packers and Lions, Rams, Goff, Stafford. But can I ask you this?
By the way, I'm in on Stafford over Goff there. The way the Rams have been playing the last 2 months, I could absolutely see LA going into Detroit, especially against a pretty beat up Lions secondary, and doing some work.
There's something to be said about knowing how to win, too, and they've done that, even though this isn't the same team as that one that won the Super Bowl. But Bryce Young got screwed in Carolina. Do you think that the disparity is that much as what it looks, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young?
So hard to know, isn't it? So hard to know because of the talent around you, of the buy-in from the coach. You know, they fire Frank Reich mid-season or whatever it was, and situation. Like, so much of success in professional sports, in careers, regardless of what anybody does for a living, has to do with what situation you're getting yourself into. You know, what's Brock Purdy if he ended up in Tennessee? He's probably selling insurance in 3 years. Instead, Brock Purdy's about to get paid a ton of money because of the situation that he ended up in. So it's hard to know, and you can't pull, you know, you got to keep riding Bryce Young. Gave up a lot of draft capital. He's your number one overall pick. To me, the question, Rod, is if you're Chicago, what do you do with Justin Fields? I think that's the most intriguing story of the entire NFL offseason.
And again, no answer to that right now either. So, hey, man, wonderful chat. I would say all the best in 2024, but we're going to be chatting lots. Thanks for the time as always, man. Enjoy the sports.
Yeah, you too, pal. Look forward to seeing you in Vegas, by the way. That'll be great.
Yeah, I can't wait. Lots to catch up on. I got lunch. The great Arash Madani joining us from Hogtown, Toronto, Ontario. We'll be right back with Overtime after this on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics, Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
It's Overtime, brought to you daily by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where I'm getting all the weather reports. Minus 30, minus 31 sound right. Daytime high. Well, get inside, get indoors to Overtime Hockey Lanes. You can't play outside in that temperature. 28th Street Northeast, where skill and fun collide. Baseball's got batting cages. Golf has driving ranges. Why not shooting lanes for hockey players? Get inside and work on your game. Overtime Hockey Lanes. Check them out on social media as well, and tell you that tell them Rod sent you. NHL tonight. Darren isn't here, my bad, to talk about our Bet Regal breakaway bets. He could text in or even join me now if he really wanted to. Don't alarm him though, Clark. If he's not watching, he doesn't have to join us. But it's fun, these breakaway bets. Playing just for fun. Maybe that's the way sports should be, just for fun. Like sport fishing. Let's catch them and throw them back. Never made sense to me. We didn't have any water around us where I grew up at all. We shot to kill. Explains a lot, doesn't it? But there are only 3 games in the NHL tonight, and with our Bet Regal breakaway bets that we do every day, we just pick a straight-up winner. Montreal at Philadelphia. I think I'll take the Flyers, given all what they've been through this week. Jamie Drysdale there now, the Cutter Gauthier saga. I'll take Philadelphia to win, because they just want to get out and play. And I'm guessing Darren will take Montreal. I bet he would. Minnesota at Dallas. That's a home and home, right? I picked Dallas to win the other night, and they did. I'll take Minnie to win on the road tonight at Dallas. And the game of the night is the Vegas Golden Knights at the Colorado Avalanche. I did not have Vegas in my top 5 teams, but they'll be there in the end. Here's the thing I know. I don't know Vegas that well, but I know their boss, Kelly McCrimmon, very well. They won't be worried that they're not in the top 5 right now like a lot of these other teams seem to be. Doesn't matter right now. And for that reason, I think I'll take Colorado to win tonight because they're hot. I think Colorado's 4th overall in the standings in the NHL. And Darren will take Vegas just because he always likes to go against me. Sports update here. The NHL has announced a new program, First Line, meant to support the mental health of NHL players. The announcement was made at the Hockey Hall of Fame today in partnership with the Mental Health Commission of Canada. NHLPA Executive Director Marty Walsh, former NHL defenseman Jay Harrison, and Mental Health Commission of Canada's Vice President Shane Silver were there. Silver says first line is based on, quote, the working mind. It's based on a program with of increasing resiliency skills, mental well-being, and decreasing stigma around mental health. Bravo, NHL and NHLPA. Now, talk's cheap. Let's see him get to work and the benefit of the players. But this is a good start. Sports Updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas in theaters now, Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. It's an action adventure. When an ancient power is unleashed, Aquaman must forge an uneasy alliance with an unlikely ally to protect Atlantis and the world from irreversible devastation. Starring Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, Dolph Lundgren, and Nicole Kidman. Aquaman in Landmark Cinemas now. Man, we're getting a lot of stuff done here in this final segment of Overtime. Let's check, as I promised, viewer takeover. A lot of CFL fans checking in today. Natasha in Winnipeg writes in. She says, ask where I can get that hoodie. I need it. Go Schooners. I feel like that's a one-off, but I don't know. Natasha, you're on social media. Write Arash. Write him, because I'm not his personal clothier. I'd like to be, but I'm not. Regarding my rhetorical question as to why do the Saskatchewan Roughriders have to keep redoing contracts of their quarterbacks, Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and he says, I can tell you why they have to redo them, Rod, because they got no confidence at the top doing the deals to begin with. Don't expect winning coming to Sask anytime soon. That's from Brian in Hudson Bay. I mean, it's interesting that Arash and I took opposing viewpoints on that, and probably not shocking. We don't view a lot of things the same. It's amazing that Arash and I are as good of friends as we are, but we are. Yeah, to me, a deal's a deal. Are we out of time? We are. Did I lose? I can't hear anybody. Hello? I guess we're gone. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern.
Who has more fun than us?